Welcome on this evening's webinar for the Whitepapers training. So we're starting on page 24, which is the blockchain internal exchange, decentralized exchange that trades, settles, and clears over the blockchain autonomously. This way, licensed users do not have to choose to transfer the currency to custodial accounts in centralized exchanges in order to conduct some form of trade. For example, web euros are also cryptographic assets in a similar form as Dascoins, and therefore, without withdrawing from your wallet, the holder is able to trade Dascoins for euro denominations directly on the blockchain. So like a real life scenario is if you wanted to buy, for talk's sake, Ripple currency is a cryptocurrency, you have to first purchase Bitcoin to buy that. So with this, you're cutting out the middleman and the middle denominations or currency, and you're buying straight Dascoin, and you can also withdraw euros into your bank also. Folks, sorry if I'm talking with a bit of a lisp. I had a couple of teeth took out earlier, all on one side, so I kind of feel like I'm feeling on one side, but I'm actually not. So moving on, because of this, the levels of theft from third parties is greatly reduced, and the friction for trade and conversion into national fiat currencies is simple and direct. Using a wire-out feature, a licensed user of the Dascoin blockchain can withdraw euros directly to their bank account from their web wallet account. So as some of us who have brought people into the company, we will have experience then of having euros in our web wallet, and what we can do is we can just withdraw euros straight into our bank accounts, or we can do it with Bitcoin, or we can purchase new licenses, etc., and gift codes. It's pretty self-explanatory, this one.
Yep.
So we're moving on to page 25, which is the governance of the network. So we're starting off with voting nodes, and we talked about this a couple of pages ago, and about the contracts, etc. So it's kind of follows on from it. So Dascoin governance begins with voting nodes that are operated within wallet accounts that hold at least 10,000 Dascoins and have committed to holding these Dascoins for at least 2 years through a default contract. All voting nodes may have a say in the running of the network by voting in regular elections for the Dascoin board, by being active in proposing members for the Dascoin board, and by participating in future referendums on critical issues. So it's just explaining, folks, what we've explained before. If you set aside 10,000 coins for a minimum of 2 years, you get a vote in the company. So you will have one vote, and that's basically giving you a say. Or if you put it in the real life situation, it's like giving you a seat in Parliament, or whatever your electoral will be in whatever country you're from. But for the UK, it would be the House of Parliament. If we move on, then we have the Dascoin board. The Dascoin blockchain enables a governing board to regulate the perimeters of the network. The Dascoin board will be comprised of members elected by the voting nodes. The role of the board is to 1. Propose and modify chain perimeters to support the normal functioning and growth of the network. 2. Delegate certain executive roles to certain chain executives, such as issuing licenses and authenticating said licenses. 3. To act as a check on the power of said executives by having the ability to terminate their access to the network. The board itself has no control on the state of the database or the construction of the Dascoin blockchain, and is programmatically prevented from making any changes to it. Since the network itself manages and maintains the state and the transaction ledger, the only way to make any undesired change is to subvert the majority of the master nodes. Again, it's pretty self-explanatory. It means no one person can mutate the rest of the blockchain in the network. It has to be a joint decision by a majority vote.
And I suppose it's important to point out there that the only way that there could be something underhand achieved is if the majority of master nodes come together in order to do that. But yet, that's pretty unlikely, seeing as to be a master node, you'd have to have 1 million coins invested for 5 years or more, and so therefore would make very little sense to do something negative to the company in that position.
What's the advantage of being a master node?
There's a few. One is you get to create blocks. 2 is you actually You get 300 votes per master node, so you get a very high part in making decisions within the overall company. And 3, you get financially rewarded with coins. So there's a number of reasons.
Right. So a node is when you leave them freeze your coins.
The node is the computer side of it, so the node itself is like a cryptographic key.
Yeah, it's almost like having a computer allocated to you. Nodes effectively will be servers distributed in different geographical locations around the world, and when you actually purchase or when you freeze them, so when you freeze a master node allocation, you will be given one of these computers. It will be more symbolic rather than you actually needing to physically do anything with it.
Yeah. Okay, I just wanted to get that out of the way because I'm wondering what nodes is for the last couple of days. I wasn't on last night.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be 33 core master nodes operating in 33 different jurisdictions throughout the world. So they're core master nodes, and then we can become a master node if we take part in a deep vault contract, which for the master node is 1 million coins for 5 years, and then you become a master. You can become a master node. So there's, I suppose, master nodes within the system, and there's master nodes that we can become part of. Equally, there's ledger nodes. There's going to be 3,000 core ledger nodes, but there's going to be thousands of community nodes. Yeah, community ledger nodes, and then there's the voting nodes as well. So there's a number of different levels.
And also, Mickey, we get if you do commit to a master node contract or a master contract, you get 3% of all coins minted over a 3-week period. Goes into a pool, and that's divided out amongst all the people who put in for that master contract, which in my eyes I think will be a small amount of people, so there will be a big reward of coins going out there.
Yeah, there's potentially a huge reward on the financial side as well by doing this.
Yeah.
So it would be it's something like 18 million coins every 3 weeks. 3% of that then is put into the pool for the master contracts.
Okay. And did you find out, if you do decide to leave them freeze your coins, do you get your commissions, or do they freeze them as well?
They're frozen as well.
Your default, they'll get froze as well.
Yeah. Okay. That's
okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, so we're moving on to the next part. The board is designed to consist of 7 individual directors, each of whom is bestowed with full voting privileges. Are we echoing in the background there, or?
Yeah. 2 seconds, I'll just mute everyone except you.
Thank you. All good? Sounds good. Okay, I'll just start that over again, folks. The board is designed to consist of 7 individual directors, each of whom is bestowed with full voting privileges. Generally, each director serves for a 6-year term, though initial directors will be serving staggered terms of 2 to 6 years. This is to ensure continuity of experience. A minimum of 3 directors are required for the governance of the Dascoin ecosystem, and as many as 9 may serve on the board. In addition, there is an ombudsman member of the board, who does not vote and does not hold any responsibilities within the board, but they will attend all board meetings and provide a degree of independence and transparency to the board's governance process. So this means someone is going to be sitting on the outside who is taking nothing at all to do with Dascoin, and will be putting in, like constructive criticism, which every company and every person who wants to build needs. So that's a really good thing to have. And finally, there is an executive director who works for the board and is responsible for ensuring that all of its decisions and initiatives are enacted and enforced. The executive director attends all board meetings, but is not permitted to vote. The executive director is responsible for directly overseeing all chain authorities. So that's basically just saying that, you know, whoever is the top dog, they won't be voting on anything. They're just overseeing and making sure everything is running smoothly and correctly, and that everyone's adhering to all the rules and everything else that goes along with the company. Does anyone else have anything to say about that? Or everyone's on mute, sorry, by the way.
I just forgot I was on mute, yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's really good. We'll touch on more of it here anyway as I go through the chain authorities. So unless anyone has anything to add.
No, that's fine.
Okay, so chain authorities. Chain authority roles exist to handle smooth inputs to the blockchain of user data that exists outside of the system. The problem with fully decentralized systems is the fact they cannot have reliable inputs. For example, Bitcoin is created internally in the Bitcoin blockchain and is merely transferred around. In order for proof of value to work, there must be certainty that the user is actually bringing value to the network. Value cannot exist without an independent observer. And so the only way to verify that the user has submitted value to the system is to maintain an impartial observer. I think the summary of that really is basically in fully decentralized models, there are no observers, observers that aren't part of the network itself. So an independent observer is important, and obviously they've that put in place. Each authority role is set up in such a way that, one, there is no way for the authority to make a meaningful, unwanted impact on the state of the network, as the network can fall back to a fail-safe state. Two, the actions of the authority are checked by a separate authentication authority, and there are programmed measures to assure there is a minimal chance of collusion. Three, there are incentives to perform in the best interest of the network. Four, any malicious action by the chain authority is transparent and will lead to that account being marked as untrustworthy, shut off from the network, and penalized. So I suppose to go through them briefly, there's no way for the authority to make a meaningful unwanted impact on the state of the network. There's a fail-safe, there's a fallback position, but equally it's fully traceable, and I suppose that's probably and number four, if anyone does anything untoward, any master node, any ledger node, everything is fully traceable back to them because they have to enter their key to combine transactions to create blocks. And so if anyone does anything out of the way, it's very easy to find out who did that and obviously remove them or penalize them. It's also going to be checked by an authentication authority. I believe that's where our top 3, top 4 accounts from the world will be validating the blockchain and what's happening within it. So that's obviously a big effect for us there. And of course, there is incentive to perform in the best interest of the network. And again, that's back to any of the various nodes. But for example, in the master node, they're going to have 1 million coins on the line for 5 years. They're obviously incentivized to look at the long-term view of the company. And so then there's a diagram here, which I suppose just gives a very simple version of how it all works. But we say on the top, you've got your board of directors. To the left of that, you've got the ombudsman who has no vote, no responsibility, but literally is overseeing that things are done according to the rules, really. On the other side, you've got the executive director. He's between the board of directors and all others. The executive director also has no vote, but does have a lot of responsibility in that he ensures that whatever is decided by the board of directors is made happen. And then you've got the various people underneath that, so the licensing authority, licensing authentication, Web Bureau authority, Web Bureau authentication, KYC authority, and what I believe should be KYC authentication. Any questions on that or any comments?
The KYS side of that, I did check this earlier, and it stands for Know Your System.
We guessed. We took a stab at that this morning.
Yeah.
There was also a couple of other meanings, but I don't think they mean mean that, but it's definitely know your system.
Okay. Good for clarification. Good.
I think what it gives is it just gives us a confidence that, you have these big corporations and you don't know what the board of executive directors get up to, but there's just complete and utter transparency with Dascoin. So you have confidence that no any single entity or group of people can do anything that will have a detrimental impact on the blockchain or the business as a whole.
Yep. It's neither possible nor logical, because the people making the decisions are invested in the future, the long-term future of the company. So something being impossible or unlikely isn't good enough, but the fact that it's the incentive for everybody involved is for it to be long-term is a masterstroke.
Yeah.
Not their only one, but a good one.
Are you carrying on, or is it Rebecca next?
I don't know, maybe is it you, Debbie? No? Or
no, you just done mine.
did I? Sorry. I did that one this morning, so I presume that was my one.
So governance of the network operations. The board sets the procedures and ensures the proper execution of the following: the level of the frequency at each 2-week interval, the size of the minting blocks at the start of each upgrade interval, the size of the super blocks and treasury blocks, the proposals to be submitted to the voting nodes, the use of funds from the treasury blocks, the authorization of master nodes and ledger nodes within the DASnet infrastructure, intervention at times of crisis, and other elements listed below under the board parameters. The Executive Director oversees the performance of all chain authorities and KYC functions, manages the flow of proposals for the board to consider, facilitates referendums if the proper thresholds have been surpassed, is responsible for enforcing all board initiatives and decisions, and is fully accountable to the board for all operations within the system. Chain authorities oversee the issuance and
authentication
of licenses and web bureaus under the supervision of the Executive Director. Frequency is adjusted every 2 weeks. The process involves the board selecting which of a range of algorithms best reflects the current growth state of the network. The primary factors considered include overall amount of cycles in the system, amount of cycles authorized in the most recent 2-week period, velocity of cycle growth in previous periods, and projected cycle growth within the system. Upgrades automatically occur on a system-wide basis on specific dates, starting 108 days from the launch of the Dascoin blockchain. It is unlikely that this interval will be altered at any point in the future, but it remains within the capability of the board to make such an adjustment should they feel it is needed. All deep vault contracts also function automatically. Essentially, the minting process, upgrades, and deep vault contracts are all smart contracts that are automatically executed and built directly into the Dascoin ecosystem. I've got to say, I hate that word. I really cannot say it.
No, you did well.
I hate it. It's put me off. So basically, I read all that in one go because it just breaks down all the roles and what they're basically doing, overseeing the blockchain. Yeah. So, James, is there anything that you want to add to that?
No, it's pretty all self-explanatory, that one. It's basically just puts everything in the nutshell, really. And there's no point us trying to add anything onto that to simplify something that's already simplified for us. So yeah, well done.
Right, so global parameters. Listed below is the set of parameters that the Dascoin board can propose changes upon. License or issuing authority, the privilege to assign a license to a Vault account and to determine the level of license. License or
authentication.
Yeah. The ability to cancel the issuance of a new license to an account in the event of error. Web Bureau issuing authority, the privilege to transfer a Web Bureau balance to a Vault account.
Shall I take over?
Yeah.
Okay. Web Bureau Authentication Authority. The ability to cancel the issuance of a Web Bureau balance to an account in the event of error. Cycle upgrade date and interval. The exact date of an upgrade and the upgrade interval. The upgrade interval is currently set at 108 days and is not expected to ever change. However, if you join today, your next upgrade will be in 74 days.
76 days, is it, or 74 days?
If you join in 75 days, your next upgrade will be in 1 day.
Yeah.
So, frequency, the conversion factor by which the cycles can be exchanged for Dascoins as part of the minting process. We all know what the frequency is and what it's set at, and this changes every 2 weeks. Block, a measurement for accumulated transactions. The system currently records a block in accordance with a designated period known as a block interval. Block interval, the time it takes to create a confirmation of a single block of transactions. By default, transactions are confirmed every 6 seconds. In the future, this will be decreased as the code base is further optimized. So, you know, that's what will allow us to have DASPay, because we have the fastest blockchain sitting at 6 seconds. And can you hear me?
It's amazing that we're actually going to beat the 6 second mark.
Yeah, I knew that's what you were. I knew that's what you were smiling at.
I was here.
They actually said that in Hong Kong. I mean, their plan from the very beginning was, you know, everyone was going, Jesus, 6 seconds, and they're going, yeah, for now. But they're for 5, for 4.
I read that, so that, you know, I could feel a smile coming. Then I just seen James going like this. Okay.
It's like the Formula 1 Grand Prix pit stops. You know, it's like we did 8 seconds. Well, 8 seconds is good, but it's not fast enough. So we're going to beat our 6 seconds again.
Yeah, so beat ourselves.
Yeah, they're going to beat themselves, and it's wow.
So, and again, the minting block, the amount of Dascoins distributed in the completion of each minting interval. A minting interval, the time it takes for a minting block to be created. The default minting interval of the system is 10 minutes and is not expected to ever change. Okay, so again, that would be still always be 6,000 coins every 10 minutes. Maintenance period, the number of blocks that must pass before maintenance is performed on the blockchain. Maintenance skip slots, so this is a new one. During a maintenance period, some blocks will be skipped. This parameter sets how many the system should skip while performing a maintenance period. Superblock, the amount of Dascoins distributed at the completion of each type of superblock interval. The size of superblocks are expressed as a percentage of the cumulative Dascoins distributed by the minting blocks within that superblock interval. There are 3 types of superblocks, and each corresponds with a particular deep vault contract: voting superblocks, ledger superblocks, and master superblocks. Does anybody need any of this explained? I think it just explains.
Self-explanatory, this.
Yeah.
It would have been better of us doing all these at the start.
You should have worked backwards.
Yeah, probably. We'll look for the next run through.
Yep.
Starting at page 56. Okay, who's next? Mohammed?
You. All right, Mohammed, yeah.
Is it page 29, yeah?
Yeah.
29, yeah.
Superblock intervals, the time it takes for superblocks to be created. There are 3 blocks block intervals within the system, each of which corresponds with a type of superblock. The voting superblock intervals are 1 week in duration. The ledger superblock intervals are 2 weeks in duration, and the master superblock intervals are 3 weeks in duration. Treasury block. The amount of Dascoins distributed at the completion of a treasury block interval, like superblocks, treasury blocks are expressed as a percentage of the cumulative Dascoins distributed by minting blocks within the treasury block interval. Treasury block interval. The time it takes for a treasury block to be created. Treasury block intervals are 4 weeks in duration. Maximum block size. The maximum block size in bytes that a block can be signed to the blockchain. Maximum transaction size. This is the maximum allowable size in bytes for a single transaction. Maximum witness count. This is the maximum number of master nodes that could be active on the network. And then it breaks down in a table the account hash name, which is between 6 and 63 characters. The transaction size limitation is 1024 bytes. The time between blocks, 6 seconds at the moment. The time between maintenance intervals, 1 day. The maintenance duration of the blocks skipped, that's 3 blocks. And the time between upgrades, 180 days, which you know already. And the time between minting intervals is 10 minutes.
Brilliant, Mohammed. Just if any of you are on the call, use Bitcoin, for example. If you're sending someone a Bitcoin transaction, they'll ask for your Bitcoin wallet. So you can see here your hash name and the account name is between 3 and 63 characters long. So this would kind of relate to the Bitcoins. It's like 1A, small B, and 20 other letters and words after it. So that's kind of this is what your address is. And then the time of the blocks is 6 seconds on the graph, but that is just for now, as Mohammed said, and they are already wanting to beat themselves at this. So it's
what this all essentially means is that we have a super blockchain.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, indeed.
Hi, Arthur.
Hey, guys.
Okay, Arthur, let's go. Page 30. Oh, wait a minute. Actually, I think Mohammed...
That's just finished?
Yeah, that's us done, yeah. Thanks, Arthur. Good luck.
All right, we don't want to finish it tonight, no?
No, we're going to finish it tomorrow. There's 4 pages left for tomorrow.
Yeah, we can do a general summary as well.
Yeah, okay. That's fine.
4 pages, that's fine.
Has anyone got any questions on the call of anything we've went over or anything we've went over for the last week and a half?
I have a question, actually.
Okay.
If you have, if 2 people sign up in the one account, so for example, let's say 2 people put $2.5 grand in each to a $5 grand account.
I've got one like that.
I've got one like that.
I've a good few who've shared 25s. I've 2 people who've gone in 25s, or I've got 4 people who've gone in 25s. But it's just to the aspect of actually taking stuff out. So you're going to sign. Can you sign more than one wallet to an account?
No.
I wouldn't know. I don't think so.
What they could do is open up a wallet for each individual, and then when all the coins are minted into that account and their upgrades, etc., is then they can send the coins to each wallet, so they could break it down into the 2.
Yeah, but that's sort of taken outside the system. I was just wondering, was there anything within the system? Can you, like, I'll just go back there. There was something in it about the number of wallets and so on. I think that was on last night's one, actually. It was when I was looking back over what G had done. There was information there regarding the vault accounts and wallet accounts. So, all vault accounts must be connected to a wallet account. Can a vault account have more than one wallet account?
You can only have one wallet per account. But have a separate email. So, like, if 4 people have bought one license between them, there can only be one wallet for that account.
We will get the information, Vivian, at the moment we are in Belgrade, because we need to find out, because no one really explained the vote. That's not been...
Remember, there's only a certain amount of coins taken out daily, so you can have 4 people or 3 people taking out percentage of that. There would need to be some sort of hybrid system that could dissect that wallet into 4 different sections.
Okay, there's a lot of background noise there coming from someone again.
Yeah, so if someone's speakers, I think, might be up a wee bit too loud. I don't know.
Okay, that's probably a bit better. But yeah, I just think it's an important one. It's going to be an important question for most people, because most people have brought somebody in that has shared an account with somebody else, and it's all well and good now. But when it comes to the point in time where, let's say, those coins could be worth a hell of a lot of money, and they would have a lot of them, that there's some way of dissecting that. And like, for example, I have 4 people who, like, they're not brothers or anything, or you know, they're not related. There's just 4 people. They're all friends now, and hopefully they always will be. But, you know, with a 25k license, we all know the potential of that might be worth. And, you know, I was just trying to see, was there some way of separating that within the system? Certainly James's suggestion is a good one, but I was hoping it would be a solution within the DASnet.
Yeah, so it might be something that can happen. But if just go on Costel, I see your message. How can you set up 2 wallets? So just a couple of pages we covered. I think it was either last night or the night before.
Yeah, it was last night, Jack.
It said that anyone, even on the trading platforms, needs to have a web wallet. So to send coins, you need a web wallet. So that would cover that. If someone is just, if 4 people, like Vivian is saying, they've chipped in and they've bought the 25k package between them. If they all set up a wallet each, then, you know, they could theoretically send a split amount of coins into each of those wallets.
But the wallets you're talking about, James, are external wallets to the system.
Name is it in?
Just a quick one, guys. Just remind me, I don't know from when we register a license or an account on NetLeaders, is there room there for a company?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe these guys should form a company and have 4 people in that company, and then have it legally in the terms of their agreement.
And their smart contract.
Yeah, the smart. Well, if we have the ability to do that in the future, but initially, have a company with 4 directors, you know, with an equal stake.
Yeah, I actually suggested that to them at the very start, but they were like, no, it's no problem. But I was going, no problem now. It's not really worth anything right now, but if it's worth what we believe it's going to be worth in, you know, 2 years, 3 years time, they might have a different view, you know?
Yeah.
I suppose it all comes back to the whole trust.
Yeah.
I suggested to my people is that they might want to draw up some sort of contract with a solicitor, because when it comes to money, you know, you don't know what's going to happen. People fall out over money.
Yeah, and you know what they say, early boundaries make good neighbours. You want to set the boundary as soon as possible, and that's why I'm trying to push them to do, but you know. Yeah. But I would imagine this is something that's going to be all over the world. There's going to be people sharing accounts, you know, 5 people buying $5,000 accounts separately, or 5 people together buying a 25 grand license are going to get a lot more coins per euro. But obviously then you have this additional potential headache.
That's a good question. I'm actually going to ask that question now. I don't know if I'll get an answer now, but I'm going to ask now.
Yeah, no harm in asking anyway. But I think it's going to affect a hell of a lot of people. And if there was a solution within DASnet, certainly down the road, something like a smart contract would certainly be useful. But I'd like to think there might be something simpler. If you could set up multiple wallets, but then that might create other issues. So I'm not too sure.
Yeah, because obviously who's withdrawing the money?
Yeah. So
then everyone has the authority to withdraw the money into the wallet, to their wallet.
Yeah.
It may need to be done at inception, so that when people have a license, there's not just one person registering. They can have add a person.
That actually would be a big part of the solution if you could actually put in, for example, 2 names to a license and 2 email addresses. So therefore, they all will get the updates at the same time. There'd be no, geez, you never sent me that update. You got it. You didn't forward it on to me.
2 million out the wallet and you never shared it.
But look, it's worth asking and it's worth finding out if there is a solution within what they can provide themselves.
Cool, guys. Hi, Bernard.
Hi, sorry, I had to go out. That was awful. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. That's what. Have you got any questions, Bernard?
Well, I'm just getting my breath back. We've got a girl looking after the studio for us, and she couldn't work the alarm.
Okay.
So, that's her. I don't know if this is what because I've just come back in the meeting. What happens if a license holder dies tomorrow?
Okay, this is a question that we've already raised.
Okay, right. That's okay. Sorry, I've just come in on the meeting.
Yeah, no, that's really good question actually. But we've already raised it, and Paul Mateus have spoken to Michael and Terry about it, and there will be something put in place because obviously there must be something put in place so that it goes to next of kin.
Yeah, it's only logical, and I would say we more than likely will get that answer in Belgrade. I would expect.
Yeah.
Because the question has been raised, so I would assume they'd have an answer before the question will be raised, because again, it's a very logical question to ask. And
you see, there's a lady I'm talking to, and she's wanting to buy some for all of her grandchildren, but all of her grandchildren are under the age of 6.
I could give you a live one of that, Bernard. My grandmother has a license, and she has passed away already. But she took the license in my name. But a way around that is write down your license account names and passwords. Write them somewhere that, if the worst did happen. I have like 6 or 7 accounts, and I've got them all written down, and passwords, etc. And that they're left aside if anything did happen to me, that they're there and someone could access that.
In the interim period, until we've got something.
Just until it's sorted out, but they are working on something, and it is going to be written in that, that if you did pass away or someone else passed away, that you could essentially put in a part of a next of kin, or a spouse, or whoever. If you want to put it to a cat charity, you probably do that too.
Yeah.
I would say certainly for now, and even for the future, even if they do sort, when they do sort this out, even now I would have when we get to the point where we have the 24-word password for backup, obviously if something happened to me in the morning, I'd want my wife to have those details. So if you're putting these words down somewhere and you're putting it safe, whether that's in a safe or a safe place, you should let whoever your trusted person is, be it a partner or son or daughter or whatever, I would say they should also know where that is. So at least if something happens to you or your validator or whatever, that they have a backup, they have a way of getting back in.
Yeah.
Okay,
what we have is she can put the username as her kids, as their grandchildren's name, because that's what my sister's done. She's got 500 licenses in her grandson's names, and the username is their name. Everything else is hers.
Okay. Yeah, that's what she's wanting to do, but she
just puts them all in the one web wallet.
Because her estate's complicated from the point of view of inheritance tax, and she's just trying to make sure they don't get hit with inheritance tax.
Oh yeah, so she's going to buy how many 25k licenses then?
Yeah.
She's got 6 grandchildren. I'm hopeful she's gonna. I told her to start doing that instead of just leaving them in the house.
Yeah.
Mortgage the house. Only joking. It's a really smart thing to do, is to buy into this kind of stuff now, because as you can kind of see from the last 10 to 15 days alone, the cryptocurrency base in itself has already it's raised. I think it's like 40%, 60%.
45.
45%. And it's now sitting at a market cap of, I think it's about 44 billion. Whereas 15 days ago it was less than 30 billion. So this is what we're moving.
Background noise in somewhere, guys.
Mohammed, is your speaker up?
Try that.
Perfect.
Yeah. Coin market cap, like we're saying about how much it's increased in a short space of time. Monday, a week ago, it was at just hit 30 billion, and it was a big sort of hoo-ha. Jesus, it's hit 30 billion. 10 days later, it was last night when we were doing the presentation, it was 39.5 billion. And when I woke up this morning, it was 42 billion. It's nuts.
It's
like
44.5.
It's no 42.8.
40. It's dropped down then. It was at 44.5 earlier.
And Bitcoin dominance last week was 70%, and now it's 58.5. So Bitcoin is going through the roof, but yet losing its dominance because everything else is going through the roof more.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'm just checking out.
In general, are waking up to the fact that you don't need a bank. You don't need a bank to rip you off to send someone money, or you have to wait 5 days for that money to clear. When it's made up system that they have control over, where they start leveraging your money within that 5 days to make more money for themselves. It's nice the fact that I'm going to send Mohammed 20 quid, and that 20 quid will be in Mohammed's account within the next 1 minute, and there's going to be no middleman, so we're not going to lose out. We're not going to get charged 10% fees or whatever fee they're going to charge us. The world is starting to waken up, and the bankers are getting scared, and they've actually come out and said if they don't get involved with blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies that they're going to lose. And I think that the dominance of cryptocurrencies at the moment is starting to show up.
No, it's all good. Right place, right time, right coin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't hear you, Debbie. Debbie, mute.
Debbie's actually coming up as Arthur.
Because I started the video.
Oh.
All right.
I'm saying the bank will charge you more to use the blockchain because it's quicker.
Yeah, probably.
You've got blockchain, you can use ours.
Yeah, you'll get an option there where you can go, a normal transfer, a 2-day transfer, or a cryptocurrency transfer, and they'll rape you for the price.
25 euros. That's exactly. Okay, guys, I think that's us for tonight. I think Arthur's having his dinner. Mohammed looks like he's ready for bed. There's a big yawn there. Mick,
No.
thanks for coming on. Costo, maybe the next time you'll
okay.
Dascoin. Oh, cool.
Listen, about the frequency, one more question.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's volatile. It can go up and down, yeah?
Yeah.
I would ask this question. So, is there somewhere where you can see it going up and down, and has it come back at all since it started?
No.
It's never come back since we started. It's just gone up, but it is possible for it to go down.
Yeah, I know.
If there was no sales done in the next 2 weeks whatsoever, the frequency most certainly, I would say, will go down.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that won't.
But I think the chances of that happening are pretty unlikely.
Yeah, yeah. So, it's better for us that it keeps going up, yeah.
Yeah.
It's better.
Is it going to be more? Is the coins going to be worth more the more the frequency goes up? Yeah.
Yeah.
So the more the frequency goes up, Mike, what that means is, there's more people coming on board, so they have to divide the amount of coins between that amount of people.
All right. But that's where
it doesn't necessarily mean the price will go up. But when it gets to the point where the coin's actually on the external exchanges and the coin actually has a value, it might be worth your while, instead of going on the public exchange and buying, say, 10,000 euros worth of coins. It might be in your interest to buy a 5k package because it might work out cost effective for you, according to the frequency. So it just all depends on what way the frequency goes, and you also have to remember that the company, although they haven't put the frequency down, they have a few times they've made pretty good bonuses.
Yeah.
and then bonuses would, reflect a lower frequency. So they've made a higher bonus, so if you'll get an extra, let's say 25% cycle, but it's on a higher frequency, which would accumulate a lower frequency essentially.
Yeah.
It would average out as a lower frequency, yeah.
I mean, luckily for just about everybody on this call, they were all in, relatively early, and all got quite low frequencies. If you look at the frequency now, it's, you're getting 40% less coin.
Yeah, but here's another very, very important point on frequency. All our frequencies are locked.
Yeah.
They have said that they won't always be locked. And the big difference there is, if you come in at 3.7 or 4.3, or as it is today, 6.5, your frequency is locked. So when you're getting your coins out, it will be at that 6.5 frequency. But if you go in at a later date and they are no longer locking the frequency, then you will be getting your coins minted at whatever the existing rate is on the day. Yeah. So you could be getting some at now at 6.5. You could be getting some at 10 and some at 15. So it's a very important point that the frequency lock won't always be in place.
Yeah.
And also your earned cycles will be on your frequency lock also.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Oh, huge.
Yeah.
Hey guys, it's getting a bit noisy. I think we'll call it tonight.
Yeah, that's probably the recording starting. Should we stop any at the stage yet?
Yeah, it's stopped anyway.
All right.
It's not still going.
Is it not stopped?
No, it's still going.
Time tomorrow. Okay. Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Cheers, guys.
See you all later, folks.
I look like Arthur.
Oh, she started recording again.